Hello everyone and welcome. Today I am so excited to share my absolute go-to recipe for the ultimate butter biscuits. I'm talking about the kind that are so unbelievably tender they just melt in your mouth. This is a recipe I've perfected over many years, and it's just perfect for any celebration or honestly just for a cozy moment for yourself. So let's get baked.
And I really mean that. This is not just any old recipe. This is my tried and true, foolproof method. I'm going to let you in on all my little insider tips that will absolutely guarantee you get perfect, beautiful biscuits every single time, even if this is your first time ever trying.
All right, first things first. Every amazing bake starts with getting your ingredients right. So our first step is to gather everything we need. Think of it as setting ourselves up for success right from the very beginning.
So here is exactly what you're going to need. Now, if you can, I always recommend using a kitchen scale for baking. It's just so much more accurate. We're going to use 300 grams of butter, 200 grams of powdered sugar, 2 large eggs, half a cup of milk, 500 grams of flour, 4 grams of baking powder, just a gram of salt, and then, for that really special aroma, 1.5 packets of orange vanilla. I put the cup measurements up there for you as a guide, but trust me, for baking, grams are totally the way to go.
Okay, listen up, because this next point is absolutely crucial. Your butter needs to be cold. I mean straight from the fridge cold. This is what creates those beautiful little pockets of steam in the oven that make the biscuits light and airy. But at the same time, your eggs and your milk must be at room temperature. This helps everything mix together into a smooth batter. You see, that temperature difference is one of the biggest secrets to getting that perfect texture.
And here is another total game changer, the kind of flour you use. You really want to find a low-protein flour for this. Sometimes it's labeled as cake flour or pastry flour. Basically, lower protein means less gluten gets developed when you mix, and that is the secret to getting that incredibly soft, tender, fragile biscuit that just dissolves in your mouth instead of a tougher, chewier one.
All right, now we're getting to the part where the magic really begins. This step, which we call the creaming method, is hands down the most important part of this whole recipe, if you want that light, dreamy texture we're aiming for.
So you're going to start by taking your cold, cubed butter and beating it all by itself for about a minute, just until it gets creamy. Then, with your mixer on low, slowly start adding in that powdered sugar. Once it's all in there, crank the speed up to high and let it go for a full 5 to 8 minutes. Seriously, don't rush this part. This is where we're whipping thousands of tiny little air bubbles into the butter, and that is the key to a light biscuit.
What you're looking for is a total transformation. The mixture should become really pale, super light, and incredibly fluffy, almost like a cloud. When you see that texture, that's when you know. That's your sign that you are well on your way to baking the most delicious biscuits you've ever had.
Now here's a super simple but really vital tip for you. Every couple of minutes, while that butter and sugar are whipping, just stop the mixer and scrape down the sides and the bottom of the bowl with a spatula. This just makes sure that every single bit of the mixture gets incorporated evenly, which prevents any dense spots and gives you that perfect uniform texture all the way through.
Okay, our base is perfectly light and airy. Now it's time to build the rest of our dough, and the key word for this next stage is gently. We've created all this beautiful air, and now we want to protect it.
So keep the mixer on a low speed and add your room temperature eggs, but do it one at a time. Make sure the first one is totally mixed in before you add the next one. Then you're going to slowly pour in your milk and orange vanilla. Once that's mixed in, stop the mixer. Now add all of your dry ingredients, the flour, the baking powder, and the salt, all at once. Turn the mixer back on to the lowest speed possible and mix only until you don't see any more flour. The second it disappears, you stop.
And I really cannot stress this enough. Whatever you do, do not overmix this dough. The second that flour is incorporated, you are done. Every extra turn of that mixer is just developing more gluten, and that is what will make your biscuits heavy and tough instead of light and tender. So please remember, as soon as that flour is gone, stop mixing.
Okay, we have our beautiful soft dough. Now it's time for the really fun part, shaping our biscuits and baking them until they are perfectly golden brown.
To get that classic biscuit shape, a piping bag with a star tip is definitely your best friend. But here's my advice. Don't overfill the bag. It's so much easier to control if you work with a smaller amount of dough at a time. When you go to pipe, press down firmly on your baking sheet to get it started, and then pull up with an even pressure to create a nice, thick biscuit. You really want to avoid making them too thin, because they will burn in a flash and you'll lose that soft center.
So, what's our magic number?
The perfect baking temperature for these is 180 degrees Celsius, which is about 350 Fahrenheit.
And this brings me to what I consider a non-negotiable rule of baking. Your oven has to be fully preheated to that 180 Celsius before your first tray of biscuits even thinks about going in. If you put this delicate dough into a cool oven, the cold butter will just melt and spread out, and you'll end up with flat, sad little pancakes instead of beautiful biscuits.
Now, let's be real. We all know that every oven has its own personality, right? So if you know your oven tends to run hot, go ahead and drop the temperature down to about 160 Celsius. That'll keep the edges from burning. On the flip side, if your oven is a little on the weak side, you'll want to crank it up to 200 Celsius to make sure they bake all the way through and get that gorgeous golden color.
But here it is, my ultimate pro secret for getting perfect results no matter what. Before you bake the whole lot, just pipe 2 or 3 biscuits onto a little tray and do a test bake. This little test run will tell you exactly how long they need and if the temperature is just right for your specific oven. It takes all the guesswork out of the equation and basically guarantees the rest of your batch is going to be flawless.
And now, after all that love and care, we get to my favorite part, enjoying the delicious, delicious results of all your hard work.
So how do you know you've nailed it? Oh, you'll know. They're going to be this beautiful golden color all over. They'll have a wonderful crispness when you bite into them. Your entire kitchen is going to be filled with the most amazing orange and butter aroma. And of course, they will have held that beautiful shape you piped perfectly. Okay, one last very important instruction. When these come out of the oven, you have to let them cool completely right there on the baking tray. They are so incredibly delicate and fragile when they're warm, and I promise you they will just fall apart if you try to move them too soon. A little bit of patience here means every single one of your beautiful biscuits will make it to the cookie jar.
And the final taste, oh, it's just sublime. That rich, buttery flavor, that little hint of orange, that delicate crunch. It's a taste you just can't get from a store-bought biscuit. And dipping one of these into a warm cup of tea, well, that's just one of life's simple, perfect pleasures.
You know, baking is about so much more than just food. It's about creating moments, and it's about making memories. So I'll leave you with this thought. As that incredible smell fills your home, what delicious memories will you be creating? Happy baking, everyone.